What's up, everybody? Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and I have yet another album review for you. So another one that came out on the 29th of April that I was very interested in going over was the debut full-length from No Mas, Consume, Deny, Repent. This comes out on Closed Casket Activities. Again, this is this band's debut album. They formed in 2017 in Washington, D.C. They have two other EPs, one split and a demo, and this is fucking ferocious death grind, and me being a giant death metal fan and a fucking grindcore fanatic, this is like the perfect mix for me to go over because, wow, this is just a fucking intense album. And since we're going to MDF at the end of May, why not cover another band that's going to be there, and hopefully I have time to see, because this is just flesh-ripping, just nasty death grind. This album is barely over 20 minutes long, 15 tracks, and it is violent from start to finish. The only moment of like ambience or like mood setting you get is the opening track, Manipulate Consume, which just starts off with feedback and some growls in the background that get even more, loud, and then the song just takes off into just fucking death grind. But this is a really interesting album just in terms of, well, the production I think is almost more akin to a thrash metal album. Like, it kind of sounds like a crossover thrash, like sort of production on a death grind album. The guitars are very thrashy, very crunchy. The drums are crystal clear and brutal as hell. It's just a very kind of clean production, and grind you kind of associate with like dirtier, grittier production. But honestly, with how cool these fucking riffs are, I kind of like the cleaner production here because you can make out all the cool shit in here. And in terms of the guitar work, there's a lot of cool camps they're pulling from. Of course, you have death metal riffs all over the place and grindcore fucking shit fits left and right. But there are a ton of groovy breakdowns that scream both thrash metal and hardcore, especially like the hardcore ones. They have such a nasty punch to them, especially on Police Brutality, the opening track, Manipulate, Consume, and Interrogation, which is just a destructive, nasty track. I was really surprised by the amount of groove on here. This isn't just the wall of blast beats and just quick shit fits. I mean, well, they are quick shit fits. I think the longest track is the opening track, and it's only 2 minutes and 11 seconds. So yeah, these are short, fucking nasty songs, but I mean, it's grind. It's kind of expected. But there's a lot of nuance to it. Like, within these short songs, you get a lot of cool, like, different riffs, vocal trade-offs, which are really cool. The frontman has a really just nasty, deep death metal growl, and then you get hardcore shouts from, I believe, either the bassist or the guitarist. And how they pivot off of each other is really cool. And when they do giant gang vocals together, man, it's just fucking brutal. This is very modern sounding, but also, again, kind of classic. Like, you get stuff that is more akin to like Misery Index on here in terms of a more modern band, but they're definitely pulling from bands like Terrorizer, Napalm Death, and in their grindiest moments, Nawesome and Rotten Sound. So all this is fast, all this is heavy. This is foot on the gas, no brakes, no fucking moment to catch your breath. And I kind of like it. The breakneck pace of this album is absolutely awesome. But again, breaking it up with groovier moments and, again, stuff you wouldn't expect kind of makes this a little bit more fresh. Again, this doesn't necessarily sound like the most stereotypical death grind album in terms of just, what all they're pulling from, because again, you have thrash metal all over the place. Songs like Rabia open up with a flat out D-beat sort of thrash metal just chugathon, and it kind of keeps this like instant pit spinning sort of energy going before it breaks into blast beats. And of course, blast beats are on every track, but again, I like that that's not just pretty much the consistent thing across the board. Like, not every track is just a wall of blast beats. Of course, there are some because it's grind. But I like the fact that they break it up a little bit. And again, groove is surprisingly a big thing on here. Siago and Deny Disgrace both kind of open up with like a thrashy kind of hardcore groove, and it kind of bounces a little bit. Like, there's, a kind of different energy to it before it breaks into blast beats and all the things you expect from good grindcore. What really caught me off guard were black metal moments. Like, I was kind of shocked by that. Ausencia de Luz. Again, I took Spanish, but I didn't do well in it, so yeah, sorry about that. And Hypothermia both have like black metal tremolo riffs and harmonies to it. And there are tremolo riffs on here, but they're more of the death metal variety, like more low, more like kind of morbid angel-y. These are distinctly colder and distinctly more evil sounding. And grind is like heavy, in your face, constantly. It's screaming and fucking just fucking you up the entire time, whereas black metal has a different sort of feel to it. Like, you get a little bit of this evil feel to it, and honestly, it kind of adds a lot to it, and I really wasn't expecting to hear that, and they employed it really well. And it isn't as though the entire song becomes a black metal song. It is 100% like a grindcore death grind song. Like, it just kind of shifts around. But it was kind of cool to hear those elements thrown in there, and they're, again, done really well. Going over this, I think just a little bit over 20 minutes is probably the right length for this, because, man, this is such an assault on the senses. It is just brimming with hostility, as, you know, good grind should be. But again, within these short songs, it is really cool to hear some awesome songwriting dynamics. And again, hearing thrash metal and like death thrash come out, and black metal, and these hardcore breakdowns that are all over the place, really makes this a very interesting listen. This isn't a one-note grindcore or death grind band at all. This is just fucking viciousness, but focused with a little bit of fucking finesse to it. That is to say, flat out, just straightforward grindcore isn't on here. Against My Will, Rugio, and Mal de Ojo. All three of those tracks, under a minute long. They pretty much just come in, kick you in the teeth, and then leave. Maybe like let the air out of your tires on the way out too, I don't know. This whole album sounds like it really wants to start a fucking fight. And I think that comes with, again, that mix of all these different things in there, like hardcore, crossover thrash. You know, it all is pretty much fighting music condensed into these violent fucking outbursts, and it fucking really works on here. Everything about this album flat out fucking works for grindcore. There's a lot of stuff that, you know, you could say you've heard before, because, you know, grindcore isn't necessarily the most wide-reaching genre. It has its very distinct sound, but man, it comes down to execution and the intent and energy behind it, and this band fucking has it. I actually ordered this album not long after I listened to it twice, because that's pretty damn easy to get through a grindcore album twice if it's only 20 minutes. But this whole non-stop avalanche of just riffs and aggression really just latched onto me. I flat out fucking love this album, and I think it was due for a solid grindcore album, and holy shit, this band did it. And man, do I want to see this live, because grindcore live is fucking awesome. So overall, I'm gonna give this 4 stars. This is a fucking banger. Again, there's a lot of different stuff they pull from, and it all really works well. Riff-wise, this is one of the riffiest grindcore albums I've heard here recently. And in terms of everything you love about grindcore, the high-pace energy, the short, abrupt, violent songs, it has it. But pay attention to these riffs. These riffs are fucking great on here. If you have someplace you need to get to really fast in the car, and it's about a 20-minute drive, put this album on, and you will get there in 10. It's that high energy, and it does not take a break. In fact, fuck breaks. Breaks are fucking irrelevant on this album. And while I think you can get that in a lot of grindcore albums, I think the fact that this has some really cool riffs and distinct hooks in it really makes this one stand out for me. I absolutely recommend the fuck out of this one if you were a grindcore freak or love death grind. Hell, I think even if you like thrash metal, you're gonna find some killer stuff on here. And, you know, again, if you don't like it, don't worry, it won't take that long to get through a track. I'm sure there might be like better gateway bands into grindcore and death grind, but I can't think of one right now that is as catchy as this is right now, because this is fresh in my head. But yeah, definitely check this one out. So if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there will be a link down below. There will also be a link down there to thrallsmetal.com, where you can get one of our cool shirts if you'd like. Plenty of stuff coming your way. Again, working on getting the Exodus ranking together. Got some fun interviews planned here soon, and yeah, just trying to load you guys up with cool metal content as much as we can. Thank you all so much for subscribing, following. We're getting close to 11,000 subscribers now, which, again, 10,000 was insane, and actually every 1,000's insane. All of them are insane. Thank you guys so much. It is awesome doing this. It is awesome talking to you guys. And before I keep blubbering on endlessly about how much I love doing this and love you guys, I'm just going to wrap this up and say thank you all once again, and we will catch you later.